There is a space in my heart where I find the truth. I find me in you, a truth beyond what you may see now. But when we are one, we bring more good about. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love. Welcome to peace. Welcome to our community. Be who you are. Let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Allow and unfold, embrace and let go, trust the flow. There's a freedom in love when you follow your heart. Together we are stronger than we could ever be apart. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love. Welcome to peace. Welcome to our community. Be who you are. Let your light shine. We're so much more when we welcome here. You are welcome here. Breathe in and out. Slowly feel all that's around you. All that you feel. All that you know. Let it go. Welcome to love. Welcome to peace. Welcome to our community. Be who you are. Let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. Yeah, when we unite. We unite. Yeah, yeah. When we unite. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You are welcome here. Love is welcome here. Peace is welcome here. You are welcome here.
Greetings and welcome. I am Reverend Cindy Grimes with Center for Spiritual Living Ocala, and I am so glad that you have chosen to spend a little time with us today and get to know who we are and maybe tap into an interesting conversation. Today, we are talking about transition and specifically what that transition looks like for Center for Spiritual Living Ocala. And let's see, my guests today are our regular folks, our practitioners, Donna and Norma from the Center for Spiritual Living. But before I get into all of that, do a little bit of our introduction. First of all, what we're about at CSL Ocala. You can tell a lot about an individual or an organization by the things that they value. And so this is the list of things that are important to us. And we came up with these values back in 2015 when I became the minister at the center. And at the very top of our list is the idea of spiritual growth and practice. That is the whole reason we come together, is to grow spiritually and to learn from one another. And it will remain at the top of our list. We appreciate love. We believe that love is the essence of who we are as spiritual beings having this human experience. It is where we come from and where we return to. So that is very important to us. We value appreciation. We know that the things we are grateful for appreciate in our awareness and understanding. So that is also at the top there. Community. I think the COVID pandemic has really shown us how important it is to gather as community, whether we do it online or we do it in person or we do it with our families. We need to be in community with one another. And we're going to talk a lot about that today as well. Freedom is also at the top of our list. We value that freedom of expression, freedom to be who we came here to be, to share our gifts, and why we came here, to why we're on the planet, right? So we value creativity and the ways that that can manifest, whether you feel like you're a creative person or not. We are always creating. Your imagination is always creating something. So we try to give folks practices and principles to help them create consciously on purpose. We value health and wholeness, and I mean that in all of its manifestations. We're talking about your physical health and well-being, as well as your mental health, your emotional health and wholeness. We value generosity. We are a very generous community. I think we are anyway. And I know the people in it are very generous, kind, open-hearted, just good people. And last on that list is financial well-being, which we are also, I think, going to talk about a little bit today. So those are the values, the things that are important to us at Center for Spiritual Living Ocala. And this is our vision. We are a model center for spiritual living, as evidenced by the transformational impact we have on our spiritual community, on the larger Centers for Spiritual Living organization, and the community at large. And our mission is to empower individuals to awaken to the power and presence that lives within and all around them, so they can live their best lives. And so, yeah, that's what we're about. It's a great, big, huge, amazing vision. And it's part of what I love about being in this organization, is that we have this vision. And that's what we are always working toward, is to creating a world that works. So if your experience is better as a result of what we teach here and what we talk about and what we do, then we are on track with our mission. And so this year, we have been, just to kind of recap, because we're getting to the end of the year, we have one more month left of 2021, and we will be doing the last chapter of See No Stranger. Comes from the work of Valerie Kaur, who is a peace activist, a civil rights attorney, Sikh woman of the Sikh faith. And her book, See No Stranger, is really about understanding what it is to love ourselves and to love others and to love our opponents. And so in this part of the conversation for, I guess, October, November, December, we're talking about loving ourselves. And Valerie's analogy of loving the self goes to the idea of birth, right? And we have been in this transition of COVID, giving birth to something. We're not quite sure what it's going to be yet, or maybe you are. Maybe you're a little bit further in your transition, but I think everyone I know is going through something. And so the birth analogy, I think the quote that she is famous for is the phrase, what if the darkness that we are finding ourselves in right now, what if that darkness is not the darkness of the tomb, but the darkness of the womb? And I just think that's really beautiful, that we are creating something new out of the turmoil and the pain and whatever changes that we may be going through, that there's going to be something beautiful to come out of this. And so this month we're talking about transition. Next month, we will talk about the joy that is available even in the midst of transition. So I'm really excited to talk about that as well. And so let's see, we're going to do a little invocation here and see if my friends are ready here. I'm going to bring in Donna. Hey, Donna.
Hi, how are
How you
you? Can you
doing,
hear
honey?
me okay?
I can hear you. I see you're
Oh,
outside.
okay. Yes, we're outside. We actually pulled over because
You
the
did.
traffic was
Oh
so
my
bad.
gosh, you're
Yeah.
just amazing. I hope it
So
doesn't
I'll
start
just
raining.
no, it's kind of interesting the sky,
Yeah,
but
it's
no,
beautiful.
I don't know. It feels good. It's very beautiful, and we're just kind of hanging out in somebody's parking lot.
That is just
Spirituality can
dedication.
happen anywhere, honey.
It
You don't gotta
can.
be. Yeah, you don't have to be on a mountaintop to connect to spirit. And a matter of fact, I connect best when I'm in nature. And the fact that I'm sitting here in my little seat next to Zaxby's, it just, I don't know, it feels good. I'm sure people are wondering what I'm doing. They're
That's
driving
just,
by.
gosh, that's
Yeah.
awesome, Donna. Thank you so much. I don't know. Should I pray you
Oh,
in?
yeah.
Are you feel in the mood to pray?
Of course, I feel in the mood to pray. I'm sitting in nature here. Yes,
Well,
I'll
you
definitely
go,
do it.
girl. All right.
All right. So take a deep breath, everyone, with me. Allowing the sounds of nature and the busyness of life, the traffic, the sound of children, your family, your job, wherever you are right now, listening to the sound of my voice. I want you to take a deep breath in and breathe it back on out as you allow your body to settle into your seat. It is from this place of connection with our seat and with the air around us and with the very heartbeat of our body that I speak my words, knowing that God is everywhere present. I know the divine energy and source energy is everywhere. This amazing energy exists all around me, through me, includes me, includes the very bees at my feet and the bugs in the air and the ants in the ground, and all of it is God expressed. And because all of this is God expressed, along with me and everyone else, I know that the transitionary periods that we all go through, different transitions in our lives, all of it is here to teach us a letter, to grow us and to stretch us, and to get us closer and closer to the magnificence of what we really truly are. And as we're teaching this very thing to our young people, our babies as they come into this world, they're no longer shut down to their divine essence. We are celebrated, each one of us. And we're so grateful that we have a space, that there are centers around the world that we can get back to with this teaching. I'm so grateful that I have different churches and synagogues and temples and backyards and dinner tables and wherever it is that you gather, connecting yourself to the energy that is the one. It is perfect. It is perfect just the way that you do it. And I find that it is even more perfect when I'm able to gather with others of like mind to celebrate life together. And as we come out of this transitionary period that is COVID and we start to gather again and people come back together, may always be mindful of that which is around us. We know that it is also allowing for us to grow and to connect with different modalities that we did not before, simply because COVID existed. And in our awareness, we are offering hope and a different way of being so that we all can enjoy life, even in the midst of pain, even in the midst of seeming drama and suffering. All of it can happen at once. And we are grateful for it. I'm grateful for the lessons. I'm grateful for the joy. I'm grateful for the expansion. I am grateful for this teaching. I'm grateful for myself, for the way that I show up and put my hands in the dirt and how I connect to other human beings. I'm grateful for those who smile at me in the grocery store. I'm grateful for the young lady that gives me my food through the checkout line. I am grateful for every single experience that is humanity, for the very breath in my body. I am grateful for my heartbeat. And I know that as I step into gratitude, then all of it works for the divine unfoldment of me and everyone else, because the law is working. And so I release it into the law, knowing that it's already being done. And so it is. Amen. Ashe. And come on back and be present once again.
Amen. Ashe. Thank you, my friends. Y'all just rock. I'm going to bring Norma in here too. Great. Hey, Norma.
Oh my goodness, now she's spinning.
Can you hear us? There
You
you
have
are.
to
You're,
unmute there.
I
you're
can.
muted. Thank you for joining us, Norma
Oh,
and
my
Donna,
pleasure.
both of you. This really, what you all have done right here, pulling over on the side of the road so that you can be part of this broadcast, is just the epitome of who you are, and the dedication and commitment and the care for the center. Like, yeah, we didn't have another guest for today because this is what we're talking about, and here you
Exactly.
are. We're gonna do what it takes to make it happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, while you're sitting, Norma's in the car, Donna outside. Why? Why? Tell me, what is it about this place? What is it that has made you become the church ladies that you would take
Oh
time
my
out of your
God.
Sunday, to be here so people can know that, right?
Well,
My
the
why?
center just kind of, for me, it kind of gave my life real purpose. I was always a kind person, I think, but, it kind of helped me to think outside myself. And if you have the type of personality where you enjoy helping others, then this is the place that helps you learn how to do that and not diminish yourself in the process. So it just kind of fit. And I found that when I don't connect on Sundays, that the whole rest of my week is just like a mess. Not necessarily a mess, but it's not as cohesive as it normally is. I'll go with that because I don't do messes.
Right.
Right. I'm telling you, it gives you life, man. It gives me life. Um, when I found the center, I was at a state of crazy, doesn't even begin to explain it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I dove into the teaching, really started picking the thing apart. I mean, I thought I was broken for years. Like I was just like, I'm broken, I'm broken, I'm broken. It's a record that kept on going. And then I found the center that was like, no, you're not broken, honey. There's nothing broken about you. Multifaceted, yes, but not broken. And I think that that was the reason why I hold on to it, because if I don't involve myself in this teaching and really do this, I feel like I might fall apart and forget who I am again. And I
Mm,
didn't like that at all. It didn't feel good. That life did not feel good. It was not this opulence. It was not this joy. It was not this yumminess. It was this
mm,
pain constantly. And so I can't let the center go. I can't let my spirituality go. I can't let my tribe go. Without my tribe, there's no me, you
mm.
know?
I love it. I love
And
being
the
part of your
center,
tribe.
and the center
Mm.
for me, it kind of keeps you grounded in the doingness of the world, because we all get caught in this cycle, in the wheel of I gotta do, I gotta do, I gotta do, I gotta do. This kind of helps you remember that you need to be also.
Yeah,
So
Mm,
yeah, the
exactly.
grounding is very important.
yeah. I love the center. I guess, we teach what we want to learn, right? And for me, this spiritual teaching, I think our spirituality, our consciousness is the ground of everything, right? It's the
Mm-hmm.
foundation of everything else. And when you're right spiritually, when you feel that alignment, all those things, what you believe, what you say, what you do, they all line up, and you're in community with other peoples that get it, like
Right.
it's like the sky's the limit. The sky's the
For
limit.
sure.
So I've, like you, have never been able to just like walk away as many times as I have wanted to. Believe me, it's not always love and light, especially when you get into leadership. I think in any organization, like you kind of see what's behind the curtains, right? Um, but even that, there's value even in that, and in looking at, what works, what doesn't work, and seeing the reality of the picture and saying, I embrace it anyway,
Yes.
right? Bumps, bruises, imperfections, like this life is never going to be perfect, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in a perfect world, y'all would have made it home by 3 o'clock, right? And been in the
Yeah,
quiet.
exactly.
But there's some kind of joy that happens when things don't go exactly,
Yeah.
as you plan, and you
Well,
pull it off anyway.
that's the story for later. You can't have those awesome stories around the fire if nothing ever happens.
True that,
So we're
true
gonna
that.
have this conversation later around the fire. You remember when we got online and y'all had to pull up? Yes, and we're gonna laugh about it around the fire someday. This is
Yeah,
it. We're living it. Yep.
right. And so back, to our topic, right? What we're talking about, this idea of transition. And, we talked about how difficult transitions can be. And even, sometimes they're good transitions, right? Like there's no way to do it. It's just that unsettled kind of, not knowing exactly what this butterfly is going to look like when it comes out of the cocoon. And that can be disorienting for people. We all want to know what's next.
Mm-hmm.
So, the center has been in transition, like everything else in the world. And it has given me, anyway, and, we've had these conversations many a time off camera, in this transition, to say, what is it that we really love and appreciate about spiritual community, about CSL Ocala, about what we do. And then let's look at the realities of the things that are not as much fun and the things that maybe aren't working. And let's put it all on the table, look at everything and recreate. Like, what stuff do we want to keep? What do we want to let go of? What are we going to create new? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where we've been for the past couple of months at least. I mean, it's been
Yeah.
before that. It's been before that, but definitely in these last probably last 2 months, as we start thinking about our relaunch. So I guess I say all of that to kind of break it down and think about, what are the things that we love about spiritual community, and specifically CSL Ocala. What things would we like to release? And then what things are we looking at as we come back together in person? Uh, this new, whatever this butterfly is, as we've gone from the caterpillar to the butterfly. So that was kind of what I had in mind, the trajectory for the conversation. So um, yeah, so back to the first part, right? What is it that we would want? What worked, right? What works in spiritual community? What kinds of things do we want to bring forward? And I'm also putting this out to folks that are joining us, right? And just tell us, type
Mm-hmm.
it in. What is it that is important to you about spiritual community? So who wants to take that one on?
But for me, the first thing is connection. I'm a people person, and I'm also a people watcher.
Mm-hmm.
But the connections that you make when you find your tribe are invaluable, because they are your pretty much a ride or die group. When you need anything or they need you, they know you can reach out, and somebody there in the community is going to be able to help you with whatever it is that you're going through, whether it's a spiritual drop or something physical, emotional, whatever. We are there for each other. And particularly when the COVID the whole pandemic hit, and there was so much, craziness going around, and nobody knew anything about anything. Having lifelines, you'd reach out to and kind of get informed and, find out, what to do, how to take care of yourself, how to care for your family. Just the connections that we make as a tribe was really strong and important for me, because when any community goes through any kind of difficult situation, it's the strength of that connection that keeps it together.
Yeah. Thanks, Norma.
I wholeheartedly agree. The thing that makes CSL Ocala so special, I believe, is that we actually do see each other as God expressed. And we talk to each other that way. And we love on each other unconditionally. And we have amazing, eclectic people in our group that just lend their vibration to that whole space that just really lights up everything. And it's probably the most diverse group I've ever been around. And I think that that is a testament to us as a community. I think it's our biggest strength is that we're so diverse, but we all love the teaching and we all love each other.
Mm. Thank
And,
you.
and to build on that, though, too, it is the teaching itself that forms these connections. Creating a world that works for everyone, loving yourself, loving everyone else. It's all these principles and guidelines and things that we have to set it as a priority in our lives to embody it, and then therefore grow upon it with others and be an example, and it's the principles that come first in all of it.
Mm. So let me see. I want to summarize what you both have said, see if I want to add anything to it. The thing specifically about CSL Ocala is the diversity. That's one of the things, right? The diversity. So we have a community, and for those who don't know, or maybe just joining us, for the first time or whatever, that when we say all are welcome, like the song, right? You are welcome here. Everybody is welcome here. It's not like come in here and we're going to change you into something else. Right? Like, yeah, oh, sure. Well, we're going to love you, but we're going to pray the gay away or whatever other craziness. Right. But no, when people come here, they're really accepted for who they are. So we have that diversity. We have this amazing teaching, the teaching of the science of mind. And I actually don't use that phrase that often because we're Centers for Spiritual Living teaching the science of mind, aka religious science, and then people freak out because is this Christian Science or is this Scientology? And it just confuses everything. But the philosophy itself, right, is a philosophy that teaches people to own the power of their own lives as creators, as co-creators with divinity, like that God that we talk about, that all religions talk about, like we really believe it's here present. I can't keep it out of my life if I wanted to, because it is the essence of who I am. And that's very different about, what we teach compared to some other folks. So we have the diversity, we have the teaching. Let's see, I'm looking for our community. What's important to you about spiritual community? Mary Lou says Sunday morning service at the center. Deb says community, music, fellowship, the classes, the practices, and the techniques. Aaron, let's see what Aaron said. Gathering in person regularly is absolutely vital, whether as a Sunday service or as other events. And then online is great because we can reach out beyond our local community. But for those who are local, in person is really important. Now let me see what else I would add to that. Because for me, it's the teaching, was the number one thing. But then it also became to me not just about the teaching, because there are lots of people that come into the teaching and, their lives start to work all of a sudden, and then they leave, like, oh, wow, life is wonderful. And, they get a new job or they find a new home or whatever it is, and they're gone. And so I've always wanted that to be different for our community, that as people's lives start to work, that they actually stay and want to keep expanding in that way and helping others to come along, not just get the goodies and go on. So I don't know. Y'all have anything else to add to that?
Yeah, that's very much the key to the growth of any community. But when you come and you receive all the good that is there too. When we come and you're down and you're in the middle of your muck and just seems like life isn't working, and then the community, the teaching, everything lifts you up, gets you back on your feet, then yes, the best thing to do is to be there for others when they're in that space. Because if we all grab the goodies and ran, there would be nobody there to give the goodies to the next person. So
Right.
yes, as a community, that's where we need to be strongest. You'd be that chain link that helps up the next person to get to where we are, and so on and so forth.
Absolutely. That's always been the vision in my mind. If I was to create a logo, it would be people like this, right? With their hands. I got one hand down here, pulling somebody up this way. Somebody else is pulling me, and we're this chain pulling one another, helping one another come up. And sometimes I'm the one on the bottom, and sometimes I'm the one that's pulling. Sometimes I'm the one that's being helped.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
I think, to me, that's important, an important piece of spiritual community. So to what didn't work? What hasn't worked in your opinion? What are the things that we would want to leave behind? And I got a lot to say about this one.
Well, I think
Yeah.
I keep jumping out here and all these like I'm the only one that's got something to say. But anyways, for me, I think because we're not one of those dogmatic churches that guilt people into doing things or guilt them into giving money or guilt them into doing anything that, you know, that doesn't come naturally or feel like they should do. I think our tithing kind of gets caught in that loop because we don't harp on it all the time. People may not see the importance of it or, may just shift it in their responsibilities of, okay, if I have anything extra, I'll give it to the church kind of thing. Where the principle of tithing, I think we should focus a little bit more on and impress upon our constituents the importance of a healthy community based on their financial contributions.
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And the volunteerism, I mean, people are always saying to me, I want this particular thing to happen. Um, well, in order for this particular thing to be there and available for you to get, that feel good moment that you get that breakthrough, which we all want. Well, it takes hands to make that work, whether it is lugging equipment or cleaning bathrooms or pulling weeds. There's a lot of stuff to be done. And if you don't have the volunteers to do it, but then you have the funds to pay a company to do it, then great. But if you don't have the funds for a company, then it's going to fall in the hands of someone. And if it's not done, guess what? We don't have a service, or we don't have a center, or we don't have a building, or we don't have, there's basic stuff. I tell people all the time, like, I treat the center like an extension of my home. And I
Mm-hmm.
know that in my home, certain things need to happen. I like having a clean home, so I clean. So I go to the center and I clean, and I encourage other people. I like a beautiful manicured yard. So I'm going to figure out a way to get that done there the same way I do at my home. I like having electricity, so I'm going to make sure the electric gets paid. So it's
Mm-hmm.
that I have taken ownership of that space and of that community, because every single person that's there is like my extended family. And the same way I say, come, get in, I run myself over to clear the way, to allow for people to be in my space through the love of myself, divine essence coming through me. I can't do that if I'm not supported. And the center can't do that if it's not supported.
Yeah.
And that's what's not working well, is that we don't have enough people who have taken it on as their extended home. It becomes like a side project that they can drop at any moment. It's one thing to be in a project. I'm in this project for a little bit. When the project's done, I'm done. And I walk
Right.
away.
Donna, can you mute till this thing goes by?
Oh,
Okay,
Oh,
he
it's
yes.
turned it
gone.
off.
Sorry, there's an ambulance. Yeah,
It already
sorry.
left.
He turned the sound off. He must have
Yeah.
known we were talking.
He already left. already left.
No, he was just passing. He just turned his light on to get through the red light.
Oh, that was nice. That was kind of him.
Right?
So, yeah, thank you both for saying that, because those were things that have been on my heart and on my mind. I had a whole other career before coming into ministry. Spent a lot of money to get that degree and go to school and all of that. And to come out, and we're not like some of the big churches, we're totally self-sustaining, right? So, if the money's not there, it's like I have gone for months without getting paid, and at a point, that just didn't work, doesn't work, doesn't work, because I'm not, unfortunately, fortunately, whatever you want to say, I'm not in a position where I'm independently wealthy and can afford to take all of these hours out of my time to give to the center and not be reimbursed, or to not be compensated when it's my job. Doesn't feel good, and that doesn't work.
Right,
So that's
right.
one
And
of the things.
I think that's
Mhm.
where I think a little of the disconnect comes with some of the people in the community. They want a full-time minister. They want you available whenever they need you. Because technically that is the general role of a full-time minister.
Sure.
But when the center isn't making enough money to pay for a full-time minister, we then don't have one. So, it's kind of a check-in I think we all need to do personally and see if we are giving our all to the community that we want to give back to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, I
And
didn't go into ministry. I didn't go into ministry to make money, right? That wasn't my goal. But if
But you
it's
still have a
if
family to
it's a
care for.
profession, I still have a mortgage to pay. I still, and
yeah,
our building. Like we've got this is stuff that we'll talk about, in a bigger way in the coming months. But we got a chunk of change to put out there for a new roof. Money doesn't just fall out of the sky. There's no home office giving us money, right, to do these things. So the whole financial picture of it hasn't worked. That has
right.
probably
Yeah.
doesn't work. In all honesty, it probably doesn't work for most communities. I don't think
It,
we're unusual in that.
and that is why we have to have conversations like this, because I think it's not just our CSL, it's other centers and other churches that are going through stuff like this. So it makes it seem as if all they want is my money. Because, of course, you're up there having to say, hey, we finally see you on a Sunday. Guess what? This is what's going on. We need your help. It seems
Right.
as if the ministers always, oh, not, they just want my money. They just want my money. But that's
Hmm.
not the case. The case is, I have a friend that is my spiritual leader, has chosen this profession, who also has to eat food and pay
Hmm.
bills and take care of herself. And if I want to be able to have her there for me to follow everything that she has dug through, the however many years, you have a master's degree, Cindy, in consciousness studies from an accredited university.
Hmm.
And most people don't realize, they think it's just a
Yeah.
calling. They put you through rigorous amounts of training and years before they'll say, yes, you can be a minister. And so I think that's our biggest strength, I think. CSL Ocala, our community is so loving and wonderful that ministers are willing to sacrifice themselves to
Right.
stay there instead of just throwing up your hands and walking away. You and Reverend Peggy have held. And now that we're coming out of COVID, we're looking at it through different eyes, I think. Whereas before, we're looking at it as this feel good space that's always just going to be there, instead of,
Mhm.
oh, we are the ones that have to take care of it. And some people got it. Some people show up and they volunteer their time and hours,
Yeah.
but it's the same
Right.
people having to wear multiple hats and work until they fall over.
Yeah.
And that's no fun for anyone. And I know
Right.
the people who are getting the spiritual food would love to know that comes from somebody who is cared for also.
And I'm gonna take responsibility for my piece of it. And I think probably, one of my pet peeves is that idea of spiritual bypass, right? Like, we're not going to look at that messy stuff because we're new thought, and we don't focus on what we don't want to have in our lives. We focus on what we want to have, which is, I mean, that's spiritual principle, right? It is spiritual principle. However, that doesn't mean we ignore the current circumstance. And I did that for a long time, for a long time, for months that I wasn't being paid. It was telling myself, somebody's going to walk in, it could happen next Sunday, right? Somebody could drop a check and change the whole thing, and keep doing that to myself until the number became so big that I couldn't do it anymore. Right. And then we have to like have this come to Jesus moment. I want to say here, somebody, I don't know who this Facebook user is, but I love this. It's time for a new model. The offering plate financial model is so 1950s. The world has changed. It needs to change too,
Absolutely.
right? And Aaron, thank you, my love. I've come to see tithing as my financial support to the community that feeds my soul. I don't feel required to tithe, but feel that what I get out of CSL Ocala is worth what I contribute. Thank you, Aaron. And I don't want to spend, like, I didn't want to spend all that time talking about money, but that is one of the things that doesn't work, admittedly. The other thing for me personally that doesn't work is the old paradigm of the minister who stands in the front of the room and pours into the congregation, right? I learn so much from everybody in my spiritual community. When I do circles, whether it's at the prison or at a school, wherever it is, I'm there participating as much as anybody else. We're all learning. And so that hierarchy, the idea of, because we're practitioners or I'm a minister, that we're somehow closer to God, you know, like that, that doesn't work for me
That
either.
doesn't work either.
It doesn't work. So that whole model needs to change as well, right? To realize that we are all, including myself, part of the spiritual community. We are all learning. We are all teaching. We are all here to grow together. And that
And that's why I
hierarchy
love
doesn't.
calling you the spiritual director. I
Yeah,
love that.
I am enjoying that much better myself. Let's see
Yeah.
if we have anything else here to add to this.
Lots of awesome concepts. Lots and
Yeah,
lots of awesome
yeah.
comments. Wow.
Yes, beautiful comments. Let's see. Vivian says it's normal that any organization would need financial support and get paid for services they provide. Sad that many judgmental churches get a lot of donations, yet you guys don't. From your mouth.
You
No,
know why
I
that is?
am. Mm-hmm.
You know why that is?
Oh, we don't do the
Because there's
guilt.
something to be said about that judgment. You don't want that judgment.
We
Go
don't
ahead
want
and
the
put your
judgment. We don't
stuff
do the
in.
guilt.
You
Yeah.
either pay for the non-judgment or you get the non-judgment without having to pay for it.
Right.
And even within those modalities too, there are people who are non-judgmental and they are really walking their talk. But
Yeah.
yeah, when I came out of traditional religion, I thought, oh my gosh, what is this about? Until I started doing the teaching, and then I realized something. I told myself I don't think I would follow a minister that is not walking the talk in such a way that is showing in their life. For
Mhm.
example, it's like going to a weight loss coach and your coach is 400 pounds.
Right. Right.
So if your minister is saying, I'm living a wonderful spiritual life, and their manifestation around them is not wonderful and spiritual, I'm wondering, what is going on for
Mm-hmm.
you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that for me, it speaks. I mean, I look at Cindy, I look at your life, I look at your family, I see your joy, I see your pain. You're so raw and open and authentic about it. And while you're going through your spiritual stuff, you learn tools and then you turn around and you teach me those tools. And then I turn around and teach my people my tools. And then everyone comes together. That is what I want to follow, because it's great to stand in the front and have beautiful words and you feel great for that moment, but you go back home to a messy house and, rodents that you can't get rid of
Girl.
because you can't afford pest control. I mean, it's all this stuff, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So the
That's
model right now that you have, the way that you're doing it, Cindy, I think is wonderful. And we just keep going with that.
Well,
Lead by example.
it's all of us. It's all of us together. And I'm so excited at we'll be sharing more as we go along and asking for more input from people. But we're looking at coming back in person, having in-person gatherings every week, something every week. It may not be a Sunday morning. It might be some other, time of the week, but to have something where we come together and to have something where people are more immersed in the experience. It's not just having somebody preach to you or give a message, because honestly, I mean, and I'm in this situation myself as well. Sunday morning, there's a whole slew of people you could be watching, right? We could watch
Mhm.
Oprah's Super Soul Sunday. You could watch anybody anywhere in the world now and get a great message. But people want to come together in community. They want to feel,
Mhm.
that place where they are accepted and loved and honored and, not asked to turn off their logic or their reasoning ability, right? Like to use all of it, bring it all, to your spiritual, your life. So,
Yes, exactly.
yes, who says here? Yes, marketing person that could volunteer would be great. Yes,
That
for sure.
would be awesome.
For sure. On that note, I have, let me see. I'm going to read the help wanted.
Yes.
What do you
Yes,
think? Let me see if
read
I
it,
can
read it.
find it.
Yes,
Yeah, let me see if I can
yes.
find it on my computer here. So I came up with this idea for a help wanted ad. Where is it? Where is it? Let's see.
It was one of
Oh
those
no.
spiritual downloads.
Yeah, it was a spiritual. Well, I guess I'm going to have to just paraphrase it, but basically, what I was thinking was that we put out some kind of help wanted and create an ad so it looks like an old time help wanted ad. And it says wanted conscious creators, interested in creating a world that works for everyone, right? Our vision, like right there up front. And then the qualifications for these people to come together in this community is number one, an appreciation of the oneness of humanity,
I
right?
found it.
You found it? Oh,
I
great.
found it. So I will
Your
read it.
your screen is
All
black.
right, here. Yes, because I'm in this other screen. So
Oh, okay.
can you
All
hear
right.
me?
We can.
Okay. Help wanted. Conscious individuals interested in creating a world that works for all. Qualifications. Appreciation for the oneness of humanity. Compassion for self and others. Willingness to live in wonder. Courage to confront and release old paradigms. Willingness to explore creative solutions to everyday challenges. Desire to make a positive difference in their circle of influence. Compensation, a life of meaning and purpose, a sense of belonging and connection, opportunities to share talents, gifts, ideas, and resources, understanding of self and others that facilitates personal and collective healing, evolution, and growth. Lots of fun and spiritual adventures with people who relate to you. All are welcome. People of all races, ethnicities, sexual orientations, religious and socioeconomic backgrounds are invited to attend. We welcome artists, builders, facilitators, healers, musicians, organizers, peacemakers, poets, strategists, storytellers, and lovers of all kinds. Contact Center for Spiritual Living Ocala to help create a beloved community of visionary, big hearted, solution oriented, capable, committed creators who engage spiritual practices and universal truth principles to uncover the love, peace, and joy that is our birthright. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Donna. Thank you. I
Hopefully, you heard that whole thing. I know I was clicking in and out.
No, you were fine. You're fine. You can show your picture. You can come back
Oh,
on
yes.
screen. You did all of
I
that
don't
with
know how to
screen.
show the picture. Yes, I don't know how to show the picture.
All good. It's all good. Yes, and so Mary Lou said we need a marketing person. Vivian said yes, that marketing person can volunteer would be great. It would be wonderful,
And
and we look
we have
forward.
several people who are marketing, we have people who are doing it. I think it's just the more of us that are out there, talking to people. The thing about our center is that we don't proselytize at all. And I
Hmm.
am like, if I know a good restaurant and I eat somewhere that's good, I'm telling everybody. I don't even know why I should keep this to myself. It's kind of like I'm being greedy. I don't want y'all to come to my restaurant because you might eat all the food. You tell people. You watch a good movie,
You
you tell
do,
people
you
about
do,
it.
you do.
You
I
find a
feel
good teacher,
the same
you
way.
tell people.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yep, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
When I found this, I mean, that's why I became a minister, right? It was like this teaching, this idea, these people changed my life. It would be like having, like you said, Don, it's like having the cure for cancer and saying, no, I don't want to share it with anybody.
Nah.
That's just for me.
Yeah. But I
But
think part
guys,
of
that
it's the fear.
all that comes back down to embodying the teaching yourself. Because if
Hmm.
you're one of those people that go on Sunday and soak up all the yumminess, and then Monday through Saturday you don't think about it again, of course you're not going to share it because it's not on the forefront of your life and you're not living it. You're just, you know, visiting.
Right, right. Well, and let's be real. So many people do that, right? They belong to a church, they go on Sunday, and then they forget the minute they're in the parking lot. Like, what are you doing? You took my space, or you sat in my seat, or the crazy things human beings do, right? But
Yeah.
let's see. Oh, Vivian asks, where is this ad being shown? It's not shown anywhere. It's still in the idea form. So yeah, we're gonna hopefully we'll be putting that. I don't know, in some of maybe the lifestyle publications. I'd love to
Yeah.
share it with other, spiritual communities too, and say, is this, the people that you want to attract to your community? Because those are folks I want to hang out with,
Hmm.
right? People who
Yeah.
are out there in the
Absolutely.
world doing it, doing it,
Hmm.
using their gifts. So that brings me to the last question, and we're way over time, but what does a world that works for everyone, what does that look like for you? What are we creating here in your estimation?
A world that
Well,
works for everyone. The way it looks like for me is that everybody is okay with being different
Mm.
and okay with everyone else being different. So no matter what you're looking at, you can say, oh, that's just different from me, and become curious. That's why I love Valley Core's work about wonder, becoming
Mhm.
curious about each other. That's what would work for me. Because then when you just look at it as different, it's no longer threatening.
Yeah.
Because I think right now people are saying you're different, so you're a threat. And that's why you have people in fear and people walking around triggered. They're in their fight or flight the whole time.
Mhm.
So if we could get us back to where we can be in wonder and communication with each other like we did as kids, then the world would work for everyone.
I love that. Thank you, Donna. So
for
living in
me,
wonder and appreciating our commonality and our diversity at the same time.
for
Awesome.
me, a world that works for everyone would be for everyone to be in their joy, however they see that, all the time, not just on Friday nights after work or, Sundays when they go to church, but every minute of every day, experience the joy that they call life, whatever fulfills them. Um, because if it's joyful, then you're not going to probably hurting anybody else or yourself. So with those things excluded, everything else should be a go. So yeah, I think if people 100% figure out what brings them joy and
Mhm.
then spend more time doing and thinking and pondering on that, be closer to a world that works for everyone.
Nice. Thank you, Norma. And that, is such a great lead in, because next month, our last month in this Valerie coursework is about joy. And it is just perfect, right? Like, you probably didn't even realize that. But joy is distinct from happiness. And we're going to talk about that, the difference between, joy and just feeling good. Because you're right, it is possible to find joy in the midst of pain. It is possible to find joy in the midst of sorrow and difficulty. And so it's deeper. It's deeper than just happiness. So let's see what we have here. Looking for last final comments here. So yes, people are wanting to know when that ad is coming out, and we'll get somebody to design it, make it look nice, and maybe put it out, as I said, on the lifestyle publications or Facebook or Instagram or whatever. Let's see. Erin says, instead of getting into arguments or feeling triggered by opinions that are different, let me put it up here. People want to learn more of the different stories that lead to those differing opinions. So in the end, even if there's not agreement, there's compassion for each other's stories. That would be a world that worked, isn't it?
Yes.
Right. In peace building, one of the distinctions is the idea that the peace doesn't mean the absence of conflict. That was like, boom, mind-blowing to me. There is always going to be conflict. There's always going to be disagreement. It's how we deal with those things that tells us whether we're in peace or not, right? Violent ways or non-violent ways. So, wow, I love this conversation. What do I think? I guess I'll answer that last question myself too before we close out. And for me, a world that works for everyone encompasses the things that you've just said, right? It's a world where people feel safe. They have their safe, brave spaces, as we've been talking about, those launching pads so they can go out in the world and use their gifts and identify their talents and use them for something bigger, and still have that home base to come to. Right? Like it's that breathe and push, breathe and push. I have this wonderful spiritual community that nurtures me and is foundational, as my family is. And it lets me go out in the world and do what I do, and come back to this safe place and go out and do it. And, that back and forth, but always connected, and working toward that world that works. That's, yeah.
For sure.
For sure.
Absolutely.
I thank you, ladies, so much. I love you and so appreciate you. The fact that you pull over on the side of the road to have this conversation, I just think you're
And we were
So
6
here's the
minutes from
thing.
home.
Yeah, we were 6 minutes from home, but it just kept on happening. I was like, no, we'll just pull over. It's fine. Ocala's gorgeous. We'll just have Ocala in the background. But this is another testament to why we do what we do, because it's important. Because it's important to my soul to be here, to have this conversation. Nothing was going to stop me.
I love it. I love it.
So
Yeah,
here I
and
am.
maybe it's been, you never know. Maybe it's been a life raft for somebody, or it's gonna be, for somebody that watches this and says, "What? Wait, there's people like this, there's communities like this. Let me find one." So
Yeah.
even if you're not in Ocala, there's centers all over the place, all over the world. They're not all, like us exactly, but or make your own spiritual community, or tune in with us digitally, online, stay connected that way. Till you find
Right.
your tribe, your physical, tribe in your location, wherever you may be. So,
Yeah. And if you make spirit first, then everything else after, then it's easy to find the time to pull over.
yeah,
Because that's the thing. It's you have to pull over and do those spiritual practices.
yeah. Well, I love you. Thank you again for taking the time. Safe travels the rest of the way home, and we'll be on Zoom afterward if you
The 6 minutes.
in the 6 minutes you make it home and want to join us.
Yes, definitely. We'll be there.
All
All right.
right. We'll catch you later. Love you.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh my goodness. All right. To be continued. To be continued. We're going to talk about joy next month, but we also we're having our next board meeting on Tuesday, and we're going to iron out a few details on our relaunch plan, and then we'll be putting it out to everyone and just see what happens. When I look at our videos, our views, sometimes we got 150, 200 views. We couldn't fit 200 people in our sanctuary, so I don't know who's watching. But I thank you, and I thank you for your support of the center, whether you are actually here physically or you're watching from someplace else in the world. We appreciate you, and thank you for your your prayer support and your financial support, and for those who are here locally, for your actually, when you come out here and pull weeds and and clean and do all those things that are needed at the center, we just appreciate all of it. So let's see, we're gonna, for this next part of our talk here, doing our offering. This is an affirmation that was created by one of our associate ministers years ago, and we just keep using it because it's really lovely, and talks about giving and sharing. And if what we do here at Center for Spiritual Living Ocala feeds you in some way, if it sparks your imagination, if it helps you throughout your week and you'd like to help us, do feel free to donate. You can go to the number that's scrolling across the bottom and the email, the rather website at cslocala.org/donate. Or you can text to Tithe. It's an amazing invention here where if you have a smartphone, you text the number that's going across the screen, 352-320-5110. And in your text message, put the amount of money that you want to donate to the center, and it goes straight from your account to ours. And it's a beautiful thing. So lots of ways. You can also write a check and put in snail mail. We accept money any way you want to give it. So this is the affirmation. I invite you to make it your own and just really look at the words and what it means, what it says. It is the nature of life to give of itself, as it is the tree's nature to bear fruit and the flower's nature to bloom. It is my nature to share the gifts of my time, talent, and treasure. I participate in the divine flow of life, giving generously and receiving abundantly. I am blessed and I am a blessing, and I am so very grateful. I am so very grateful for each one of you. It's always fun. Let's see if we get any more comments. If anyone else wants to add anything to this conversation. I do want to remind you that we are having a Zoom conversation after this. This is for anybody who wants to catch up and just further the conversation, or if you just want to check in or share your prayer requests. It's another way that we have been doing spiritual community for those who enjoy that format. So I think that's about it. We did have a jump circle last night, which was great fun. So thank you to everybody who showed up for the jump circle. And I believe there's going to be karaoke, cookies, and conversation or something like that with Christmas music that will be coming up in December. So be on the lookout on our Facebook page. And if you're not receiving our newsletter, do sign up. And that will have information on upcoming events as well. So I think that does lead us out now, and that will take us to our closing prayer. So this comes to us from our friends at Unity, our sister organization, Unity, and it is the prayer for protection by James Dillett Freeman. It goes like this: the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. So I just know that that is the truth for you. Wherever you are, whatever may be happening in your life, know that you are exactly where you need to be. And just, if it's a challenge, you have all the resources you need to get through it. And I am affirming that and knowing that for you. And if you have any prayer requests and you'd like to send them to us, you can also do that through our website at www or http cslocala.org/prayer-requests. I hope you have a fabulous week. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and look forward to seeing you either on Zoom or in December. Love and blessings.